Hey everybody, how are you all doing? Today we're talking about anti-chafe bombs, a particular product that I think for me is almost as important, if not even more so than my shoes or shorts, some tops, jackets, whatever it might be. This for me is a major, go-to product, whether it be Body Glide, Squirrel's nut butter, which is a newer experience for me, or even just Vaseline, or in this case a generic CVS petroleum jelly, but it works the same as Vaseline. And between these three products, again, for me, I'm a larger guy, I have bigger thighs. There would be a lot of rubbing and chafing, even also under my armpits, on the chest, if I wasn't using this product to help me during especially my longer runs or my races. This really helps prevent, those chafing and burning type injuries that can kind of prevent me from running the next day or for the next couple of days if they go untreated, or, I don't use this preventative before I go for my run. So let's jump right into the differences in these products that make me like some of them better or worse before I give you my overall, choice and which one I'm going to go to as my winner and which I'd prefer to use going forward. First, let's talk about the ease of application. For me, Squirrel's nut butter and Body Glide are both very easy to apply. They're simply just like a deodorant stick. You can roll it up with the wheel at the bottom as you use more from the top. You can put it on anywhere with, again, less mess. It doesn't get on your hands. You can use it on your chest, under your arms, in between your legs, even on your feet. And, that's all done, again, with a twist of a knob at the bottom. And again, very simple, just like a deodorant stick. Vaseline in this particular area is much more difficult to put on in that it is extremely annoying to get off of your hands once you take a scoop and put it where it needs to be. So you could use like a napkin or a tongue depressor. They actually hand out along the New York City Marathon route if you need some extra as you're crossing, I think like mile 16. They'll give you a tongue depressor of Vaseline. That's fine. It helps you put it on, kind of sanitarily, I guess, when you're being handed some, but it's not ideal if you want to put it on yourself. Honestly, you're probably just going to use your hand, and then it's going to be difficult and annoying to get that greasy feeling off of your skin once you're done applying it. The next thing I want to talk about is just the consistency. Squirrel's nut butter, to me, reminds me a lot more of Vaseline once it's on your skin. So it's a lot more oily. It feels much slicker and kind of like greasy to the touch once you put it on. If you're like rubbing your legs together, you can really feel it like sliding and kind of almost like it would be oozing, I guess, if you squeeze some like two surfaces together that had Squirrel's nut butter on it. So it's definitely an oilier consistency if that's something you're looking for or not looking for. Keep that in mind. Body Glide is a very solid balm. You can kind of put it on your skin. It doesn't leave what I would consider like an oily residue. And when you like rub it together, it doesn't feel that oily, mushy feeling. It just is a protective layer that I think is more durable, honestly, in the long term, which I'll talk about in a second. So definitely less oily, much more like typical deodorant. You don't really feel it once it's on you. So that's kind of a nice plus for Body Glide. Petroleum jelly, Vaseline, you already know it's as oily and mushy and squishy, and you feel it a lot, just as much as anything else as far as lubricants when you're going for a run. As far as the longevity of these products once they're on your skin, I personally have found going up to about 10 miles now with some of these products. Running marathons in the Body Glide, have not had a chance to run a marathon in Squirrel's nut butter, but honestly, I think longevity-wise, I'm sure people use it for a marathon, but I would have a lot more confidence in Body Glide just because it's not super oily. It doesn't feel like it would wash or rub away easily. It's just my go-to, and I think would last better and provide more protection over a long period of time while you're racing or running. I already had an issue with this even just during the 10K. It was kind of my fault, but I wore a pair of leggings that had a small hole in between my legs. So it was a place where like my skin could protrude through the hole of the leggings essentially, or tights that they were. And it caused a pretty bad rubbing issue. Again, it's my fault because I wore something that had a very specific like spot that was going to create a hot spot for rubbing. But nonetheless, using the Squirrel's nut butter that day, it must have rubbed off very quickly because it was like super exposed to something with friction, and it just wasn't as good as this would have been in that particular case. Body Glide for me has always been a little bit thicker. It doesn't go on oily. It feels more like, I guess, like a traditional non-gel deodorant where it goes on really clean. You don't really feel slick or greasy once you first put it on, but as you get moving, it still does the trick, and it certainly has always prevented chafing for me. So as far as the longevity and which ones I trust, over the long term, Body Glide will probably be my go-to still in that category, but this has certainly been fine under normal use, with the exception of, my own fault where I used a piece of clothing with a hole in it. This has been good for me up to 10 miles without issue, and I'm sure for a lot of people, it could go the full distance. It just, again, because of my body shape, things tend to rub together a little bit more, and the greasier formulas of these two just make me feel like they're rubbing off a little prematurely during a long race. So one of the last kind of wild card items that I have an issue with on these products is the smell. For me, Vaseline doesn't smell bad, no issues. I don't have a problem with that here. Body Glide, again, really not a strong scent at all. I honestly never really thought about it with Body Glide. Now, Squirrel's Nut Butter, I noticed right away when I went to put it on that I'm not a fan of the smell. It's kind of a like latex rubber smell almost, if you believe it or not. I don't know why, but I'm just definitely not a fan. I noticed it right away when I put it on. To be honest, I think somebody else could probably smell it on me if I put a lot of it on in different areas. So it's a little odd. I don't know, those of you who use it often or have always used this product, do you smell it the way I do? So overall, they all work. Again, if you don't use any of these products and you run into issues with chafing, whether you wear running underwear, whether you wear leggings, whether you just wear running shorts with the liner, all of these help big time. I mean, again, for me, if I don't have them, it makes it very hard to run. I really, truly would rub through my skin in many cases if I ran more than a couple of miles. So these products are necessary in all cases when I'm running. And if it's not obvious already, my favorite is the Body Glide. It was prior to trying Squirrel's Nut Butter, but now that I've really already probably gone through about a half a tube of this because they were out of Body Glide the last time I went to the store, I can say pretty definitively that this is just my favorite one. Again, because of the application where it's not as oily, not as greasy, it seems to be a little bit more rugged and, hold up over the long period of time. I've used this up to a 37-mile race and did not have to reapply, did not really have a single chafing issue, even in the most prone areas for me, which is between my legs, nothing, chest or under arms. So this lasted the distance. I really don't think I would go with this one without reapplying for a distance that long. And Vaseline, is more of to me, like a last second reapplicator. So if you bring some in an ultra marathon or even for a marathon and you need to reapply in an area that's particularly rough for you as far as chafing, that's where I would use this more than anything. Or just in a pinch, I have it if I ever run out of these and I want to go for a quick run. right, so we finished our run. We were able to stay pretty close to that 10 minutes per mile pace. Overall average was about 9:56 per mile, and my heart rate was low, down around 135 beats per minute for that particular pace. I won't take up too much time. Definitely I post my Strava down below in every video. Go check it out there if you want the most details, but I think for today that's about it, just because we had a long beginning. So yeah, tomorrow is going to be 9 by 400 meters. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and you can follow along as I continue training for the New York City Half Marathon. So that's all I have for today, everybody. Hope to see you in the next video.